What's up, man? We just jumping right into this, and we're running on time with no glitches. There's always like a glitch on my side, right? It never fails.
Magical.
Yep. Hey, I got Timmy B, guys. We're gonna talk some MMA. The episode starts right now. What up, Tim?
What's up, my man? Good to be back.
Yes. Yeah. So, tell me the name. What's the name of the kitty? What's up?
This is Evie. She is a white belt in jiu-jitsu, and she's just starting her Muay Thai training.
Nice. Let's get.
Yeah,
Wow.
so she's good. She's
How old
ready
are
to
we
go.
talking about here?
She's 2 years old. No, less than two. Just under two.
Okay, less than two. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I am Jason DeBeas. This is the Option Podcast, sometimes also known as Sports Debate Tuesday, as I continue to go through my slides. Let's do that. I'm Jason DeBeas. That's my name. This is Timmy B from the Fight Insight Podcast. And we got a hard stop at 10:45 on my time. So let's let's oh sorry, my thing is really, really loud. Well, yeah, let's get it going. Let's get it popping. Let's start with topic
Yeah.
number one. Timmy, we want to talk a little bit about Dana White. And this might be the fastest topic we get in and out of, because I think for the MMA faithful, there wasn't a whole lot to see there, right? Like Dana White appeared on 60 Minutes, and
Mm.
I'd like to go first, and there's no real question, but I'm going to go first, and you're going to pour your thoughts. I think that for the MMA purist, we were expecting 60 Minutes to press him on maybe some of the juicy stuff. Like remember the incident with his wife, or maybe
Mm.
fighter pay or like the lawsuits, like the Ali Act, the thing like that. And for us, we thought it was like a fluff piece, but my own personal and professional opinion is like for a lot of people that don't know Dana White and don't know the journey. I thought it was told perfectly as far as like attracting new fans, and I thought it was told perfectly in terms of like who people think he is as opposed to who he really is. He admitted he was a bully. He's unapologetic. He says if I'm your friend, I'm the best friend you could ever have. If I'm your enemy, I'm your worst enemy you could ever have. And I really respect the take it or leave it style. So for me, I thought he did just enough for the hook. And I think for like some of my counterparts, they were like, "Oh, that was weak," you know.
Mm. Mm.
hmm Floor is yours.
I thought the thing was total garbage trash. No, this is bullcrap across the board for everybody because here's the problem. We're talking about the 60 Minutes interview, which was only 18 minutes. I like it's very short. And your wording is exactly perfect. It's a fluff piece for sure. Remember that CBS, it was on CBS, right? That's what
Yeah,
60 Minutes
60
is on?
minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So CBS is part of the Paramount deal, right? They're part of Paramount because they've
Yeah.
been saying that
Paramount and
the
Paramount
card that's going to
Plus.
be live on the White House is going to be on CBS.
Yeah. Well,
So,
they got a deal with Paramount next year,
right.
January.
No, I know, but what they've already said though is that the White House card is going to be live on CBS. So the connection is already there, people. They're not going to do a real interview. You're not going to spend 7.7 billion dollars on a thing and then show him in any negative light. So it is altered media, it is fake, it is glitched. Like it's all set up, man. Even the fact that they take him into the casino where he's betting 400,000 a hand of 20 blackjack, right? And then he comes away with 700,000. Like, of course, they're not going to show him friggin' losing. The news is that he's like super millions of dollars in debt at some of these casinos, and that they're like it's a real problem, right? That's you'll see that news out there. Of course, when they go, dude wins like almost $1 million. Well, anybody that's gone to a casino knows those winning days are few and far between. Like
They
you're
really are.
normally
The
way in the
house
hole.
always wins is a saying. Yeah.
Exactly. The thing about the thing about the fighter pay was a very awkward conversation because they go, "Oh, you got the $7.7 billion deal. Does that mean fighter pay is going to go up?" And then it's like a weird, like, yeah, fighter pay is going to go up, and it's like that should be like a freaking immediate. Yes, our base pay is changing from $12,000 a fight to 20,000. Like, you don't have to change what Sugar Sean O'Malley gets. You don't have to change what John Jones gets. You need to change the guys that are on the early prelims. And that should be a very simple change, dude. And that still has not been said to this day, which means it's not going to happen. Don't kid yourselves. The whole thing was stupid. And might I say, his whole thing about going, "Oh, I'm all about free speech," and which this quote I want to get into because he goes, "Oh, I'm all about free speech, which protects hate speech," right? Or he says something along this line.
Yeah, he was speaking in general.
Your boy Timmy B has been blocked by Dana White when I called him out for slapping his wife. And I didn't say anything bad. All I did say is that if you're slapping your wife in public, that's not the first time you slap your wife. And I was blocked from then on. So now I also understand that free speech means I have the ability to say things, but I don't have to listen to it. I can turn you off, or I can discontinue you, or I can block
And
you, whatever.
and
So
that's my counter argument.
yes, so it still does work. I get it, but like it is funny because if you're up for free, I think that most people that say that they fight for free speech implies that I will listen to you. But if all you want is free speech, but then you'll shut me or close me out. And Ariel Helwani has come out saying like that whole thing was bullshit because he goes, "You've been trying to like shut me down forever because you don't like who I am." So it's not necessarily about free speech. So a lot of very awkward things. But remember, people, CBS is bought and paid for by Paramount, who's bought and paid for the UFC. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. They're not going to let a bad story come out. I was actually very surprised with the few comments that that guy was able to say and that they even aired that. I feel like they're going to use that for clickbait. I bet you're going to see those little moments be on advertisements to try to get people to watch, but nothing pans out. So,
Well, first of all, you're not going when it rolls around, you're not going to need a bunch of hooks to get people to watch. I mean, if it's going to be at the White House, it's going to be the most viewed event probably.
no, but
probably
I
that
mean that
rivals the
interview.
Super Bowl. Oh, okay. No, I get that. Well, the
I mean that
interview,
interview.
one of the tough questions he was asked was, "Is there any speech that you won't allow?" And that's when it became a more nuanced discussion, right? Like Dana White is not Errol Hawani's employer, right? But you do have the right to select whatever independent contractors you are, right? If are they employers or
Yeah,
independent contractors? If it's the latter, right, it is your constitutional right where you don't have to do that either. And as far as the Constitution is concerned, in the United States of America, it's only designed to prevent you from government persecution. And
exactly.
Dana White's sheets aren't clean, but I want you to appreciate the timeline and chronology because he was suspending people and firing people for speech back then when Ariel did that, right? If you remember Angel Torres, right,
Yeah, yeah,
said
yeah.
something, like it's YouTube, and I'm not going to repeat what he said, but Dana White actually released him, but then later on, like brought him back. So it's more of a
Yeah.
timeline thing where he was learning this free speech thing on the go.
Yes, but remember, your right to free, as Chael Sonnen recently put out a tweet about it. Your right to free speech doesn't mean your right to have a job to say those things, or it doesn't mean that your employer has to pay you while you're
Right.
saying those things. So
Yeah.
I appreciate Dana White's position on free speech. I appreciate him allowing fighters to say what they want, but don't be fooled. When you're $7.7 now invested by Paramount, you're not going to have Bryce Mitchell out there shouting out profanities on different things. Like there is a bar that, hey, this is our audience, this is our market, this is our owners now, and this is our investors, and this is the television program that we're on. You can't just say whatever the hell you want.
Well,
There are
I
there's
mean,
there's
you got to know who's
barriers.
in. You got to remember who's in the White House. We get to say a lot of things we want now. Okay, I didn't
You can say,
look. I didn't vote for that guy, and I don't even want to say his name on the podcast. But the reason why Dana White used the term hate speech is because it was a general blanket thing to determine that we don't in America do not want a small governing body to decide for us what is hate speech or not, right? Like, look,
right.
Americans are ignorant, but ignorance is not only bliss, it's constitutional here, okay? So this whole notion that we we're so stupid we don't know what hate speech is, and we need to elect a whole bunch of unelected people, right? To determine to us what we can say and what we cannot say is par for the course of the American ways. At least,
Yeah.
at least if you start from the ground up, you have something to work with. But if you start from the top down, your free speech is limited, and you're just going to be Canada. You might as well be Canada, you know.
It's
Talking to a
yeah.
Canadian.
I might have someone knocking at my door by the end of the show.
No,
But it is very true though, Jay. It is very true though, my man. Like, but free speech is about what you're allowed to say. You're right. It's about government prosecution. It's not about what an employer has to put up with. It's not about what a television station has to put up with, like, or a radio station has to put up with. There are rules and things like that around. So, anyways, we're going way off topic.
No,
but
but
all
no,
I know, all I know is that 60 Minutes piece was garbage.
okay.
If you're a fan of UFC, it was all things you've heard before 1,000 times.
Okay.
And if you're not a fan of UFC by now, you're never going to be a fan of UFC. I don't know how to explain that to people. Like there's not some dudes sitting in a bar somewhere that haven't already made a conscious decision whether I like UFC or not. You're either a fan of the sport or you're a wussy. There's no two options. It's like you cannot like PFL, or you cannot like UFC and prefer Octagon MMA, or maybe you come to Canada and you watch Fight League Atlantic where your boy Timmy B is a commentator. You can prefer different things, but you either like mixed martial arts or you don't. So the 60 Minutes piece isn't going to change your mind.
Well, the variable that I didn't think about coming into this discussion was the possible White House thing, right? Like there are people that don't watch football, American football, but they're going to watch the Super Bowl. They're going to watch the halftime show. They might watch all the bells and whistles, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of bells and whistles that come with this. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't even like 5 fights. I would probably think it'd probably be like 5 total, like 3 prelims and 2 whatever, right?
I think dude, I think if you're going to set that thing up, you're going to have a full card. If anything, you're going to have a bigger card than normal.
Yeah. And everyone wants in. But yeah, that's I'm really glad you brought that up, because I wish we spent more time discussing that part instead of the other. Right. The only thing I got to say about free speech is it's not a dull butter knife, but a double-edged sword, right? It's their right to say something back to you, and you can't say, oh, it's free speech, oh, you're just suppressing. No, I'm not suppressing your free speech. I'm exercising my free speech, and the best way to beat bad speech is good speech, not canceling, and certainly for sure,
Dude, definitely
not censorship.
Definitely, as my best friend and favorite fighter, not best friend, but as my favorite UFC fighter and a guest of my show, Bobby King Green, has said to me, right?
I love Bobby.
You don't beat hate. You do not beat hate with hate. You beat hate with love. And so
I'm a fan because of you. I saw the episode, saw him on the show, and I love these long form podcasts. When we started doing this, there was like this rule that they tried to bestow on us, right? Your podcast can't be longer than 30 minutes. We're breaking all the rules, man. We're making our own rules, and we're killing it right now. At least you are for Fight and Sight.
But I'll tell you, like when you interview people, and you try to, like I do interviews on millions.co. And those interviews are supposed to be 15 minutes. They're just little snippets, and it's for athletes to be able to promote themselves, right? From amateurs to pros, right? Like last week I had Liz Carmouche on. It's very hard to interview someone for 15 minutes, I'll tell you. And that's the thing, right? Like if you're not in this business, if you're not doing interviews and stuff like that, you realize very quickly how hard it is to interview someone for 15 minutes and get anything else but the same boring.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
and you gotta, and you can't ask loaded questions, right? Like, because
you can't even ask open-ended questions because you got to cut them on time.
Well, and not just that. Let's say you ask a question that requires a lot of nuance and thought, right? And you wanted 8 questions. Congratulations, you only wound up with 4 questions because she actually wants to take the time to answer a question, which, by the way, is what the fans want. So,
but that's what I mean. So if you want to talk to people about things that you don't hear them say in the cage,
right?
You need time. I mean, that said, look, we've wasted a quarter of our time already on one topic, which was supposed to take 2 minutes.
Can't believe we did that.
But once you get into a good conversation, like it's hard to just cut a topic. And then what I find is I'd much rather like go in depth on a few questions than just short
Yep.
stab all the
Yeah.
questions.
And that's why I limited ours to 5. Mind you, we have an hour and we feel like we don't have enough time.
Of course,
Isn't that
dude.
wild?
It's always, dude. It's crazy, and I do hope people appreciate though, like the banter back and forth, right? Like that's the
Oh,
whole point.
yeah, that's
If
how
all
we do.
if all you wanted to do was hear question and answer and no retort,
Yeah.
then dude, just send me an email with a question. I'll just write you
There
my
you
answer.
go. The same for
Just read
everybody.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, hey, let's go to topic number 2 because I feel like the faster I move to that topic, if we want to spend more time on it, we kind of
Yeah.
deserve to. Okay. All right, topic number 2. We are going to talk about top 5s because my topic 2 with you, I really love discussing top 5s with you. All right. So today we're going to talk about subs. All right. Not the subs you think about, like, those little long sandwiches. Some people in the country call hoagies or Subway. It's called sub. In New York City, by the way, we call those heroes. You like that? I do. Okay. But no, not talking subs, but actual submissions and mixed martial arts. Okay. Some happen at the last minute and some of them happen in dominant fashion, or some happen to avoid the brink of defeat, and some are just something we've never seen before and most likely will never see again. So, Timmy B from the Fight Insight podcast, what are your top 5 favorite and or most exciting submission wins?
I need you to go first, dude, because
Got you.
honestly,
I'll go
I found
first.
it really hard to figure out. I'll give you one of them, which isn't on your list.
Right.
So I'll
No,
get
I'll go
your
first
list.
because it's going to inspire you. I caught you on some not ready stuff, so I need to go first, and it's going to inspire you. You know
Well,
why?
hold on. I'll
Yeah,
give you one
go ahead.
before you go, which is, and I've talked about this fight too much. Like if all you do is watch me on this show, you're gonna think I'm like so freaking lame that I only know one fight. But it's Misha Tate choking out Holly Holm for her title win.
All right,
To
that's
me,
one.
to me that was a crazy submission, and I like that one. So add that one to my
All
list.
right,
But go ahead, take it away. I
footnote
was
that.
looking up, dude. I was looking up to try to recall big ones. I know obviously the one that you had is there,
Right,
and it's the
and
Ray
it's
Borg and
important. Yeah,
Ray Borg and Demetrius Johnson.
right. Hold, you said I'm supposed to go first. Save yours.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Get
Okay.
a,
Go. Go.
get a
Go.
pen.
Yeah.
Write down some stuff while
Go.
I go
Go.
first. All right.
Go. Go.
All
Go.
right.
Yeah.
Number 5. I got John Jones and Lyoto Machida because Lyoto Machida at the time was in his prime and he was 1 year removed from actually holding the UFC belt. And they thought styles make matchups. And Machida stylistically was going to be a nightmare for John Jones. John Jones gets him in the corner. With something that looks like a guillotine choke. It's like a one arm. You can give me the name. It's almost like half Darce, half guillotine. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like one of those inescapable things, like half anaconda. And I was really excited because I did not know that Machida was out until the ref said stop. And then John Jones let go and Machida fell like a ton of bricks. John Jones gets my number 5. Number 4, Paul Craig versus Magomed Ankalaev. That went all the way to the last round. Ankalaev is on his way to another boring decision win. And then all of a sudden he gets caught in a triangle choke. And as the clock is counting down with 1 second left, Paul Craig submits Magomed Ankalaev, who, by the way, right now is the champion. So that's my submission. We were writing his obituary and we were thinking about his next loser leaves town match, and he just slaps this one on. Number 3, gotta give it up to Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche, right? Dana White once said there will never be women in MMA. He finally gave women a shot. There was a lot riding on it. They gave her a lot of rub with the media, and in the middle of this match, she was in a rear naked choke, and it looked like she was gonna submit to Liz Carmouche. Ronda Rousey powers through it and does her one trick pony, which she does best. Some people saw for the first time. You and I've seen for the 8th time. Ronda Rousey, you're my number 3. Number 2, Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, who I think is number 2 or number 1 on the GOAT list. The man was knocking people out last minute. He was winning by body shots, winning by decision, winning decisions with scoring submission was 1 second left, but this one was ridiculous. On the edit, I'm going to put up the picture. picture. This man goes for a judo flip, and while he flips the guy in the middle of the air, he jumps on the guy with an arm bar, and by the time he lands, he's in the arm bar. There's nothing to fight out of it because he was arm barred before he landed. One of the best submissions. If you and me choreograph that in co-op mode, we could do that 20 times. Cooperating can never, ever do that. This man did it not in training, right? Not in training, but in the real match, which leads me to my number one. And this was very, very important for the middleweight division. Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen beat him up on the stand-up. He beat him up on the ground, and he was riding a decision win to the middleweight title. And all of a sudden, with less than a minute and a half left, Anderson Silva slaps on a triangle choke. Chael taps, changes his mind. He doesn't want to tap. It's too late. Asked the ref what happened. The ref said, you tapped. He says, I believe you. But this saved the middleweight division because no one liked Anderson Silva until Chael Sonnen sold that fight for the both of them. And Chael actually backing up what he said and Anderson showing the will to win has gained Anderson a lot of fans, and now he's on the GOAT list. Those are my top 5. The hell you
Dude,
laughing at?
just drop the mic and be done with this segment, and let's move on to the next one.
No, because like 4 of ours are probably the same.
Yeah, here's the thing. So I added the Miesha Tate getting the bantamweight UFC championship by choking out Holly Holm, which was an incredible 5-round fight.
Great.
Then I'm gonna go with Johnson and Borg, like you said, that one just for the pure skill of it, absolutely incredible. And then I'm just gonna give you two more. I've got Frank Mir defeating Brock Lesnar.
Ooh,
right?
Let's go.
Because, right, don't forget how crazy that was. Like, Brock Lesnar was brought in, like, he's the beast. He's going to run rampant over everything. And then, boom, you see how much jiu-jitsu matters when Frank Mir submits him. So that was huge. And then my last one, I'm going to go for a super, super deep cut. This is a Canadian fighter. She's a female fighter who is the current and reigning and defending LFA flyweight champion. Her name is MMA Barbie, Shannon Clark. And this is a fight from February 23rd, 2024. Go look her up, Shannon Clark. She bulldog chokes a girl unconscious, and the girl wets herself. Like,
oh man,
it was borderline a murder, right? It was brutal.
It was like a schoolyard headlock.
Brutal, violent. I love it. And she is the nicest friggin' person in the world. You know, after that fight, I had her on my podcast. She's a great person. She then gets the call up to the Contender Series. Unfortunately, as happens in this sport, she was on a 4-5, what was she? 6. She was 5-0 going into Contender Series. After that bulldog choke, she gets the call up to Contender Series, gets starched in a minute.
Just got caught.
Gets starched in a minute, gets knocked out cold. A brutal, brutal knockout, right? And you're like, oh man, what happens? She's gone back to LFA since then. She defended her title in January, and she's defending it again on November 7th. I love this girl. She's super, super cool, man. Canadian girl out in the west, on the west side of Canada. And but that is like one of the best ever chokes, just for how violent it was and how gross it was, and the outcome. So yeah, Shannon Clark, she's got mine.
What's your 5th one?
5th one.
Okay.
Give me.
How about Pat Miletich getting submitted by Newton? Do you remember that old school match?
Yeah.
Speaking of schoolyard headlocks.
If I had to go back, then I would go to probably whatever the first submission is that Hoist Gracie got in a UFC fight, right? Like at UFC 1, it would be where I think leading into MMA, people didn't know about jiu-jitsu really. And then suddenly when this little guy came out and started strangling everybody and just finishing everybody, you're like, holy crap, this is a martial art that is not what we see on TV. It's not what we were thinking is going to happen when we had this blood sport. And then and that's just the birth of mixed martial arts, right? So yeah, it'd be whatever Hoist Gracie did first.
Honorable mention, I'll go Matt Hughes and Frank Trigg. Frank Trigg hit
Yep.
Matt Hughes with a low blow, and everyone thought Frank Trigg was going to win. As a result, Frank Trigg had Matt Hughes on a rear naked choke, and Matt Hughes got out of it and literally lifted them, both of themselves up off the ground. It was just like a wrestler's strength, and like launched him from one end of the cage to the other, and scored the rear submission of his own. I thought that was pretty cool.
Wait a second. I was gonna say, was it the one boxing glove guy? And I think it was. It's Art Jimerson.
Yes, the guy that had the one boxing.
It was the boxing glove, right? Was that his first? Yeah. So there you go. And then think about that too, right? Because think about like how crazy even just that image was, right? This guy comes in with one boxing glove on his hand, and then he comes and fights this guy who even then looked kind of old. You know, Royce Gracie was kind of like this weird, shorter guy, whatever. And then choked him out, and you're like, well, wait a second, and then that just gave rise to the birth of everything. So yeah, Art Jimerson,
yeah,
that's the guy.
And actually, anyone whose last name is Gracie deserves an honorable mention, right? Like,
Sure,
Kron Gracie. There was a middleweight or a light heavyweight, I forget his name. He was really good. He was also Gracie. Anyone whose last name is Gracie, yeah, and I love Frank Mir and Brock Lesnar. I love Frank Mir and Nogueira, right? That was actually an actual snap, right? Man, we can go on. Like even
yeah, you got tons, man.
Yeah.
Even Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill when he broke his arm.
Yes.
Dude, that was a crazy one too. I mean, like, there's just so many great ones, you know.
Nice. All right. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's maybe we'll save some if we have some time at the end. We'll save some. All right. Let's move on to topic number 3. Topic number 3 is, of course, I can't have a thing with Timmy B without a pick 6. Last episode you came on, we didn't have a pick 6, and I was so sad. I felt like we left each other with some unfinished business. So let's see if we can fix what is broken. All right. We will spend more time on the big main events because it's top heavy, and some of the matches, like I'm not even sure if you even care about. I do, you know, because I'm just excited to talk to you. But let's start with the main event. Let's start with Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. All right.
Wait. Hold on. Normally, don't we give our don't we go from bottom up?
Yeah, but this time we're going top down. But however, oops, that's not it. However, if you want to go from if you want to go bottom up, I can do that.
No. You're the boss, man. You're the boss. I just need to get my brain ready for what we're doing here.
The boss. He called me the boss. Let's see. I just gotta get the heading. Topic 3. There it is. Perfect. All right, that's popping up. Ankalaev versus Pereira. Who you got?
For the sake of this card and for the sake of the UFC as a whole, I'm hoping that Alex wins it. I mean, the problem if Alex wins it is he has no viable contenders because the next number 1 contender is 2 fights down below on this card when it's Yuri versus Khalil. Alex has beaten them both. So if Alex wins, it's better for the sport. It's better for fans. It's better for everything in terms of popularity and draw power. But if he wins, he also has nobody to fight. Magomed, I feel, has sold probably 0 tickets to this event. I don't know that anybody cares about this guy, to be fair, and I don't feel like he's a draw. So UFC's in a very difficult position here, but so I'm going to give my positive juju to Alex Pereira.
You know, Alex Pereira, in this short amount of time, has fought like a killer lineup of fighters.
Dude, everybody.
In two different divisions. Like, the only lineup I could put his up against is probably RDA. Like Rafael dos Anjos, but the only difference, of course, Pereira won more of those matches. But like when you look at the lineup, right? Like RDA, you look at the lineup, you think of Nate Diaz, who's fought everyone, or even your boy Bobby Green, right? Like the lineup, he's had some very, very intriguing fights. And it's like, man,
Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. There's certain fighters that have really in their time fought the best of the best, the who's who. There's other fighters that, although we call them great, if you look back at their record and go, wait, who were you beating? They weren't world beaters. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Alex Pereira has gone through a legitimate ton of contenders, man.
Yeah, and the only way I see him winning this fight is if Ankalaev is coming in a time up against the cage to go for a takedown. I think Pereira's slips are really good, and I think Pereira can catch him coming in. But I'm going to go Ankalaev because I don't know what the reach advantage is, but I can tell you that this guy knows how to use it. He knows how to get in and out and change levels, and I think I've always thought that those kind of people would present problems for Pereira. Um, and I'm going Ankalaev again, and this time submission.
I think you're right. I think Ankalaev is going to
Yeah.
win. I'm not going to bet on Pereira.
But I recognize what you're saying. Look, Pereira is an exciting fighter, and
Yeah.
and you know what? There's some guys who are waiting in the wings for this. Who, regardless of who wins, we could talk about Ulberg last week, who won convincingly. He was just really, and he's an Aussie, man. Everybody loves an Aussie, and you can market an Aussie. Trust me on that. You know.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Let's go the second main event. Let's go Marab Dalishvili. That's my That's what Sarah Longo, right? The Strong Island crew against
No.
Corey.
But I think he's training out of Syndicate MMA now, out in Vegas.
Oh,
I
okay,
For the last several fights, he's been cornered by John Wood,
right.
who is Syndicate MMA.
That is
So
John Wood.
I think he's out there.
Okay.
I don't know how much Sarah Longo he is anymore. I think he's spending a lot of his time out there at Syndicate.
Well, yeah. All right, let's explore that. Sorry, let me change. No, no,
Sorry
because
to
I'm just
kill
trying to
that
remember.
momentum.
No, I'm just trying to remember. Ray Longo had him out, but not for the Dagestan fighter, and not for the rematch against Sugar Sean. You're right; it was a different corner. So
Yep.
Corey Sandhagen. I'm gonna go first on this. I'm so happy. That
Which, by the way, I am
Yeah.
not happy that Marab is out there at Syndicate, and only because I feel that John Wood now seems to be getting a lot of credit for the success of Marab. But dude, you did not bring him up, and
No.
I don't know. Like, yes, you might be maintaining his level now, but I don't know that Marab is getting better and better. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
under
agree.
your tutelage. So I do feel weird saying that he's a Syndicate MMA fighter when really we all know that he kind of like grew up with Sarah Longo, or at least that was kind of the story that we've been presented, right?
Yeah.
Since Contender Series, he was Sarah Longo. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
and
whatever. Yeah.
let me tell you something. Whatever you may think of the Strong Island crew, that's 4 champions they produced.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and all of them upset kings. Marab was probably the only one that wasn't an upset. Right,
Yeah. And the only reason I
Aljo
also
I thought
want
was an upset. Matt Serra against GSP was the biggest upset in the history of of MMA. Chris
Right.
Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva, huge upset, right?
Exactly.
The upset kings, yeah.
Well, and then in truth, Aljo over Petr Yan, right? Like,
Yeah.
however he did it. I mean, he did it a second time.
Yeah,
anyways.
I don't.
But the only reason I want Marab to be associated with Syndicate MMA is because I want Aljo to turn heel on him, and I want it to be Aljo versus Marab at some point.
That would be great.
I would love it, dude.
Before we jump off this and pick a winner, I want to say I'm so happy for Corey Sandhagen, because he's been out there just putting in the work. Right, you were talking about this guy celebrating a win and not putting in the work. Let's talk about someone that's been putting in the work. That's Sandhagen. He's one of the hardest workers in the division. He's very, very likable, and I really hope that, win or lose, I really hope that something happens in this match that kind of gives him the rub and the money he deserves, because he is a personality. He just doesn't, he hasn't completely come out of his shell. Now I want to finish by saying hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. We're not going to have that situation here. I'm going Marab all day.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either fighter. I don't really enjoy either of them. To be fair, what's his name? Sandhagen is 4-3 in his last 7, dating back to 2021. So
Yeah.
like, this guy isn't a world beater either.
No.
He's on a 1-fight win streak. So this kind of tells you where we are in this division, right? Where a guy on a 1-fight win streak is fighting for the title. It is interesting that this fight is also not the main event of a card, right? They stuck this as a co-main, so that's very weird that you have a champion like Marab, who is very, very popular, and you do not use him to headline another card. And I do feel that that's indication of how much they felt that Ankalaev may not be selling the pay-per-view, right? Like, you couldn't really put it on the backs of the main event. You kind of had to have a very strong co-main event. So I thought that was strange. The bantamweight division in the UFC always seems to be a very, very popular division with very popular fighters. So to have them as the co-main, weird to me. Anyways, I'm gonna go with Merab because he's ruined so many of my parlays in the past that I just don't bet against him anymore. This son of a gun.
Yeah. Well, and
He's good.
most pay-per-views, Pereira is enough to carry it by himself. But the reason why we don't feel that way is because we already know what's gonna happen.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Because no, you are so 100% right on that. Because Pereira has lost, right? And
Right.
because Pereira is not coming in with the championship belt, and because it seems like a foregone conclusion that he's going to lose, I think it's tough for Alex fans to really get behind this card and think that this is going to be a big thing because you're kind of just going like, shoot, he's going to lose again, man.
I agree.
So
I agree.
why am I paying for the pay-per-view?
All right, let's go to match number 3. We're going Yuri Prohaska versus Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. That's better.
The people's main event, as I call it.
Yeah.
Because this is the fight that really is interesting, right? This is the fight that's really exciting. This is the fight between two fighters who have a very good public image, right? Khalil is such an enigma. He's such a strange dude, but he is such a violent and vicious fighter. And the fight that he did against Alex Pereira, right, just showed what a warrior he is. So people love Khalil. I love Khalil. He does train out of Syndicate MMA, again, with Merab. Then you've got Yuri Prohashka on the other side, which, of course, this guy's an absolute, like, cartoon character of a fighter as well, right? Like, he's just so popular and so funny. People love this guy, too. A very good fight. This is obviously for the number 1 contender spot. So if one of these guys can win in dominant fashion, you should be sitting your out on the front row for that main event, and you walk into that cage when that thing is over and you claim your spot. I am going with Khalil Roundtree all day, man. I really like that dude. I think he's got such a great story. I like him. I like his change and development. He went to Thailand, and ever since he went to Thailand, we're talking like 3-4 years ago, but after he was on The Ultimate Fighter, he was doing generally well. Then he spent some time in Thailand, and he came back a different fighter. I love this dude. I want Khalil to win this.
I love that dude too, and I love Khalil to win this, but I could say the same thing about Corey Sandhagen, right? I'm not saying that these guys are more hardworking than talented, because like I said in the previous fight, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? Now, they're both talented, so I just want to say that as a caveat before what I'm about to say next. Again, hard work might beat talent, but this is another fight where the talented person is not we're not in danger of not seeing him work hard. No, Yuri Prohaska does not take a round off. It's constant pressure. He's in your face. And I see Khalil actually making it all 3 rounds, because the last time that he went against the constant pressure fighter was 5 rounds, right? And he got finished in the 4th. And that was that a title shot, right? That was a title shot against Pereira.
Yeah, last minute. Yeah, late.
And
what do you call it?
I mean, he gained some fans in that loss.
Oh,
he gained way
way
more fans in that loss than any of his wins, and it was, and like you said, it was because his Thai boxing improved. Also, his ability to not give up, to and man, like you should, when they were interviewing him at the end, you should have. I mean, the fans really gave it to him in a good way, and I was very happy. And I'd really love to give this to him too, but I just can't. I go to Yuri Prohaska. I go Yuri Prohaska by submission.
All right.
Or no. Well, if it depends. If Yuri wants to go all 3 rounds, I don't think he's going to finish Khalil, because Khalil right now, he's just. You're not going to finish this guy by knockout anymore. No, I mean, Ion Kurtalaba was a long time ago, my friends. Okay.
I will say that where I often pay a lot of attention to gyms and the streaks that they go on, right? Mm-hmm. Syndicate MMA, since I began my podcast 5 years ago, Fight Insight Podcast, Syndicate MMA has very bad win-loss ratio. Like, they lose a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, like a lot.
Yep.
Recently, it's switched. Syndicate MMA is on a run now. And I also feel like it's a lot attributed to Merab, who maybe when he got there, maybe he's changed things. Maybe he's focused a little bit more. Another thing is that John Wood, his wife, Joanne Calderwood, has now retired. Maybe there's a little bit more focus on the other fighters.
Okay.
Maybe all I know, something's in the water at Syndicate MMA, and they are on a good streak. And
that's the Scotland chick, right? Joanne Calderwood?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
I'm here to fate. She
Yeah.
says instead of fight, she says fate.
Yeah, but she spoke. She had the voice like, "Hi, I'm so
Oh my
sorry."
God, isn't it
Right?
like oh
Yeah. She was
gotta
great,
be
man. She's from
gotta
the
be dog
original
within
Ultimate
hearing
Fighter, man.
distance
She
wanting
was
to
like
mate with her.
original first female season, I think.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I agree. That I
Yeah.
remember.
All
Let's
right.
go to the next fight. We're going Josh Emmett and against Yusuf Zalal. All right, I'll go first on this one. Now Yusuf has a 7-fight win streak that extends all the way back to 2022. Beating Calvin Qatar, it was not necessarily the biggest thing in the world, but it was a level up moment for him to show that he's ready. And now enter Josh Emmett. Now Josh Emmett's 3-3 his last 6 fights, but he's got a KO win over Bryce Mitchell, and he's also got a win over Calvin Kattar. So this could be the fight the fans don't want to see because we know Zalal's style. Press you up against the cage and look for something. If something's not there, stay against the cage until the referee separates you. And he's had a lot of smothering wins like that, which a lot of fight fans in general don't find very boring unless you're the MMA purist like myself. And I'm going Zalal.
Yeah, I definitely thought you were going with Josh Emmett because you politely said that he's 3-3 in his last 6. That's the optimist in you. For me, the pessimist, I would have said he's 1-3 in his last 4. So that's
Right.
the way you have quietly spun that to make him look a little bit more
Well, they both fought
equalized.
Kattar, so I had to put Kattar in because Calvin Qatar.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
so that's
But
why I
still,
said
he's
that because they both
still,
fought.
Josh Emmett is 1-3 in his last 4. I think he stands no chance in this fight.
No.
It is very easily for the other dude, man.
Is he still with Alpha Male? I wonder.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's 1-3, and he's fighting this guy who's on the up and up. He's 4 and like, and again, you said he's 6-0 in his last 6, right?
7
but
straight.
He's 4-0 in the UFC with 2 performance of the night bonuses. Man, this guy is on a streak. He knows what he's doing. Bet the house on Yusuf Zalal. That is not financial advice, and I did not tell you to do that.
All right, cool. Let's go to Abusapian. Abusapian Magomedov. Abusupian Magomedov versus Joe Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Who you got?
This is the stupidest main event opener of all time. It is a very why? Like what value and both men are wonderful men and they're great fighters and they're a pillar in their society. But this is not a UFC 320 main card opener on paper. Now, surely this fight is going to be fireworks and it's going to be the greatest fight of the year because this is the genius of the UFC. But looking at this on paper, it's very questionable. I mean, Abu Sufyan has double the number of fights of Joe Pfeiffer, right? He's got 35 professional fights versus Joe's 17. So it's a very interesting matchup in terms of experience. My only thing is I think Joe Pfeiffer wins. And the reason I think so is I think the only reason he is on this card is because he is an American. And I believe they're trying to set up the White House card. And I think there is a serious lack of UFC US fighters that are on the up and up.
Agreed.
And I think you need to start building some US talent now to build that card. And I think Joe Pfeiffer could be one of those guys. And so I think for whatever reason and however it gets done, I think Joe Pfeiffer does it and starts his shot at stardom so that we get a good UFC guy, USA guy on the USA card.
Yeah,
Conspiracy theory, my friend.
We definitely need some USA guys and as many Dagestan fighters as we can. We can make this an all USA versus Russia card, right?
You can't do that. Hold on, we cannot do that on the White House lawn. I honestly,
Why?
we can talk about this. Why?
Why?
Because what if the U.S. loses all the fights?
No, when, not if. Because if they put the Russian fighters we think they have, they're gonna get, they're gonna get.
No, I know.
They're gonna be like 0-6.
But this is the thing, though, right? Because I've been talking to fighters and stuff like that, and saying what do you think is going to happen on that White House long card? And obviously, a lot of people will say, oh, it's going to be USA versus the world. The problem is when you then look at the
we choose
the
world.
roster, there's not enough USA fighters that are going to put up a great showing against their counterpart. And you cannot have USA lose on the White House lawn. Sorry, you just cannot.
Right.
So the only other option is you have all fighters be USA fighters. It's just US versus US on every fight.
Okay. Yep.
And if you want to take the Timmy B suggestion, you go Democrats versus Republicans. And I think that that would be the most interesting
Mhm.
because then whoever wins, okay, fine, whatever. But if you go USA versus the world, USA might lose, man.
They're
And
gonna.
you just cannot do that.
They wouldn't get. They probably, in my estimation, they wouldn't get one. Look, for the people who don't follow MMA and just chilling with us, right? If you just Google search the UFC, the rankings, they have the champions for each
Hmm.
division in the rankings, and I basically all of the champions are different, are from different countries. Right?
Zero, right? I think it's zero American champions, maybe.
Well, it was Jones, and then but he's not around, right? So now it's Aspinall.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, wait a second,
I think it
zero.
might be zero. I
That
think it might be. Yep.
that's actually great. Actually, not look bad for America, but great that like the UFC's global
So,
and
so what I'll say,
we're really finding the best fighters in the world. So go ahead.
so what I'll say though to this, if we want to talk about this, is that I was recently talking to someone and they said to me, and I have a post, I got a post on my Instagram. I have the quote post ready and everything. I just haven't sent it out. The USA, the United States of America, their best athletes do not go into MMA. Their best athletes go into paying sports. They go into baseball. They go into football. They go into uh, basketball. The best athletes in the United States of America are going to paying sports. So the guy that I was speaking to said the United States athletes that you see in MMA are their C level athletes. They're C squad. They're D squad. Like because anybody that's a great athlete, they're going to the places where they think they're going to make way more money guaranteed. You can be on the friggin' bench on a football squad and make way more money,
Agreed.
right? So that is the problem. And until we start seeing a change in the pay and stuff like that, like the US may have a difficulty getting these top high level athletes on the average. I mean, obviously we've seen amazing American athletes, but think about all the amazing American athletes that have instead chosen to go into football,
All right. So you
right?
got
Look at all those monsters and go
right.
like, well, what if you did jujitsu,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Well, that's a lifetime practitioner thing. They're not just gonna jump in. They're not that elite, but they're just gonna jump in and beat the top. Well, they'll win.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I know, but then those athletes should have been starting now. That's what I'm
Agreed.
saying.
No,
Like,
but we
I
have too
think
many
that,
examples that support your argument, right? We got Brock Lesnar, right? He was a university well, he was a college wrestler, but he was also a football player, right? We
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
the guy who had the domestic abuse issue. He was like 3-0 before he washed out of the UFC. So
yeah,
yeah, I can't
yeah,
remember his
yeah.
name, and his name's not worth
Anyways, just a
remembering.
side topic.
So you
But
got
yeah,
Pfeiffer. I actually got Magomedov. I think he's going to take him. I think he's going to take the level of excitement and enthusiasm that Pfeiffer has. Pfeiffer's a Jersey boy. Never saw a fight he didn't like. So he's always, boiled up, and he's always got a lot of high energy. And I think Magomedov's going to take that energy away early and win by decision. Last
yeah.
fight, we got Shabazian. It's the I guess the feature on the prelims. Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Muniz. Muniz, sorry.
It's the co-main of the prelims.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not even the goddamn main event of the prelims.
No.
That's not what I see it. I see it as Atiba Gautier versus Ozzy Diaz.
Okay.
I
That's
mean, if I
fine.
showed you their photos right now, you would not be able to pick those two guys out of a
No.
lineup.
So let's call it co-main event for just for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Who do you got? Shabazian or
I,
Muniz?
I don't care about this fight at all. I will go with Andre Muniz. I honestly, it is crazy that this yeah, I have no comment on this fight. This card is a very tough card for um. Okay, I'm gonna go like it this way. It's a very tough card for casual fans. Obviously, these are all amazing fighters, but you're not. There's no star power to bring you in. And what is crazy too is like even the prelims, right? there's not a lot of big names in the prelims, and normally you stack the prelims with named fighters leading into the numbered pay-per-view because you want the buy rates, right? Like you want people to transition into buying the pay-per-view. But this card on the prelims, it's not going to draw casuals into watch because of star power, and those casuals then won't convert into buys for your pay-per-view. True fans of UFC, like me,
Right.
like you, like other people, we're going to watch anyways because we know these fighters are amazing. We know that they're the top level athletes in the world and all that. I may not know all their names, I may not know all their backstories, but I'm still going to watch because I love the guy's sport.
Right.
But you are already getting my viewership. So it's weird when your prelims are so
Right. I
low
got
tiered for the
all right.
casuals.
So actually answering the question, I'm going to go Munoz, but this is a fight that is exciting. Will be exciting to watch because Shabazian either loses in grand fashion or he wins in grand fashion. Right? Of his last 7 fights, 6 of them were finishes. He did the finishing or he got finished. Right? Except that disappointing 7th fight where he won a decision against Andre Petrosky. So I'll go Munoz, but I expect Shabazian to bring what what we want star power players to bring, right? You don't just show up and raise your hand and say I'm a star. Stars are not, are created,
Yeah.
and some of these people are looking for their moment. So I'm just trying to make sure I come with that perspective. But for now, with only 10 minutes left, we're gonna go to my favorite part, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you
Hold on.
what happened.
I have to say one more thing before you do it.
What?
It is a travesty that Veronica Hardy is the opening bout of the early prelims. Veronica Hardy is a freaking star, and she is taking on Brogan Walker from the Ultimate Fighter fame, who's been away for a couple years. This is a good fight. Veronica Hardy is a very good fighter. Veronica Hardy looks good, and Veronica Hardy also does commentary for the UFC on their Spanish audio broadcast. I believe it's the Spanish audio broadcast. She's a star. So why do you put her as the opener of the early prelims? Here's my
That aren't even going to
conspiracy
be
or
on ESPN, right? Yeah, go ahead.
here's my only reason why she's there is maybe she has to do the commentary on the Spanish audio broadcast later in the night. And so maybe they've put her early so that she can fight and then hurry up and get over it and then go do her job. But that still disrespects her because I'm sure she considers herself a fighter first and a commentator second.
Right.
So I don't know why she's freaking down there on the card.
I
That is absolutely brutal to me. I'm very, very mad about
I have
that.
a question.
Very mad.
Before we go to shame or not to shame, where's Veronica Hardy from?
Is she not from Venezuela, I believe?
Okay, cool.
No.
I was gonna
Is
say
it?
if she's from Canada, I would have been like Timmy B, get the out of here.
No, dude. Wait, you don't know Veronica Hardy?
I do. I
Oh,
just don't know where she's from. That's all.
I think. Hold on. Let me make sure where that is. Bop. Veronica Macedo, Venezuela. Is that what I said? Did I
Yep.
say Venezuela?
Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Hey,
Venezuela, and she's married to Dan Hardy.
cool, man. I've always liked Dan Hardy. We can definitely
Oh.
let's see if we can do a before we go shout out to Dan Hardy thing at the end. But for and I like that. But for now, because you have a hard stop, my friend, I lead you to the category of to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
You know, the only shame is me, man, because when I saw that scene, in some weird way, I thought that was like the scariest walkout ever, and it wasn't. It was supposed to be this walk of shame thing. She's humiliated, getting like poop thrown on her or whatever. And here I am, like looking at it, like that's hot. All right, to shame or not to shame, Neil Magny, Jake Matthews. Let's
Yeah.
take a little time and talk about that. Now, for bringing people up to speed, last weekend, Neil Magny with a few seconds left, or probably less than 2 seconds, if not one, the ref called the fight saying stop, 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 and we thought that Jake Matthews won by submission. And This is like with 1 second left. He said stop, and then the buzzer went off for the end of the round, and Neil Magny popped up because the referee thought he was out, and the referee was thinking technical submission because he couldn't tap out because he was out cold. Turns out Magny was not out cold. Magny was very much alive and well and still fighting. So the referee actually, I felt, changed his rationale to the round is over instead of the fight's over. And then Neil Magny won the third round, but oddly enough by submission. So I'm going to give you the rest of the floor on this. Was it shame on the ref for not sticking with his original call? Or is it shame for him saying that's the end of the round and letting the fight go on?
It is a fireable offense. That referee should never work again. I don't even know who the referee is. I don't know who the referee was or anything like that. So if he's my friend, I'm so sorry. Absolutely terrible, dude. I mean, at that level, right? Jake Matthews is a very good fighter. So is Neil Magny. Obviously, Neil Magny is going to like aiming for most wins in UFC history and blah, blah, right? Like he's in the record books. And actually, I have a topic on my podcast I've been holding back on until like a guest bails on me and I don't have anything to talk about, which is Neil Magny a legend in MMA? And I mean, to me, he is 100%. This dude has fought for a freaking million years and he's still kicking ass, still at the top of his game. His win over Jake Matthews, very, very good. Unfortunately, it's not a win over Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews beat you in the first round, and this goddamn referee, total dude, you cannot stop the fight and then change your mind. Like when I forget the way that you phrased that question, but you said like he changed his mind or what? There's no such thing. This is not. You don't go to the cameras. You don't go to the replay. You know what I mean? Like no, dude. The minute you stop that fight, the thing is over. The referee's motion should be push the guy off and wave it off. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing in between that. The minute you touch the guy, you're then doing this. Total shit, dude. I'm so sad for Jake Matthews because you lose half your money, you lose your momentum, and no matter what anybody says, it's still a loss in the books. Now I know he's contested it, and we'll see what happens. But things being overturned very rarely happen. And again, even if you get it overturned to a no contest, I don't think you get your bonus money. And in that case, then Neil Magny just doesn't get his, so that's tough. Like I don't want him to lose his money per se if Jake's not going to get his. So I mean, it's a very, very weird thing, but it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
All right, cool. Well, since you said it all, and since we have tight time constraints, you gave me the biggest mic drop out of any of our topics. I'm actually going to leave it with that. And I think you're right. And I think, look, referees make mistakes all the time. Herb Dean did it, right? If you remember with Robbie Lawler wasn't out. Herb Dean didn't get fired. Some referees make mistakes, but I think the fireable offense is allowing the match to go on. Or if they have a replay system that allows that fight to continue. And I feel bad for Matthews because Matthews had an adrenaline dump from the win.
That's the thing.
And yeah, that's what a lot of people are not factoring into it.
And I think I think he said that now in post-fight interviews and stuff like that. He has said like, hey, like you have to understand what your body goes through in that moment too. Like psychological or whatever. And then even like, it's like I grew up playing competitive tennis, right? If you get screwed on a call, right? If the umpire screws you on a call, or beach volleyball, right?
Yeah, you get screwed on momentum. Yeah.
It's the momentum. It's then in your head. It's whatever. And sure, should I be able to let it go? Should I be able to play through it? Sure. But what you've also done is you've given my opponent a false boost of serotonin. You know what I mean? Like it's messed up the whole thing, man. And that's not the true nature of sport. I don't know. What did you think though? Did you think?
I think that Matthews didn't win because, I mean, look, we feel bad for Matthews, but we got to feel for Neil too, right? Like, let's say the ref did it the right way. Neil got screwed. He wasn't out. You know what I mean? So I mean, I mean, it's twofold, and I'm glad we did our due diligence to present the empathy on both sides of this coin. But I just feel like Jake got screwed the worst because again, like if he knew for a fact the round was over, his mindset going into the second and third round would have been different. And I don't really think that Neil
I see.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying, because if that didn't happen and they had called the fight for Jake, then we'd be sitting here today doing shame or no shame on the referee for screwing Neil
Right.
Magny.
Yeah.
You're
And we would
right.
have called it a referee mistake, but now because it's Matthews, it's a fireable offense, and I think that's very, very odd. It's right, isn't it? I mean, it shows who we like. I mean, no, look, Neil Magny's a Brooklyn guy, so I'm from Brooklyn. I like him more. We
Oh,
got
dude, Neil Magny is one of my favorites of all time. Like, in all honesty, he's one of my favorites of all time. I just, yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, had you done it the other way, fine. But like you said, mistakes do happen. And so if that did happen and they had called the fight and Magny's like, oh, I wasn't out.
right.
Everybody like, oh, well, that's blah, blah, blah. But we've seen that happen so many times. I guess that's our problem. We're so used to referees making mistakes
I know.
that we would have probably just brushed that aside. But this mistake was so weird.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I agree. Hey, look, we got 60 seconds. We're gonna skip quick question as a general concept, but Ulberg, should he get a title shot?
Yeah,
Diego Lopez, I think it's time for him too, right?
sure.
I like that too. Randall,
Hold on. Let me answer it like this.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Boxing is now a Zuffa thing and is now on Paramount. Good idea, bad idea.
I don't care.
Exactly. The Smashing Machine documentary and movie are both movies coming out, documentaries out. Are you interested in watching that?
No, The Rock screwed all those people in Hawaii out of their money and their land. That guy can it.
Well, I agree, and Oprah too. Since we're on that topic.
Yeah.
All right, we're beyond our hard stop. So big shout out to Vanderlei Silva. I hope he recovers well. There was an incident over there, and you guys are just gonna have to. That is a whole nother podcast episode on its own, right? We ran out of time, unfortunately. But go ahead. No, finish.
No, I'm just just give us another hour later. That's a disaster, dude. What happened with that? Holy shoot.
That was ridiculous. Plug in your handle. Fight Insight.
I'm Timmy B, man. Go check me out. Fight Insight Podcast at Fight Insight Podcast on Instagram. Go find me on YouTube. Please subscribe and like and just watch my stuff. But every week, a new podcast comes out on Thursday. This week, I'm doing two fighters that are both 1FC Muay Thai fighters. One loves 1FC and one hates them. And so we're going to interview both of them, and you can see differing fighters' opinions on this organization, which is going through the shit right now.
Wow. Dude, I cannot wait. Dude. All right, Tim. Guys, my guy Timmy B's got a hard stop. He's got bigger fish to fry than what I'm doing. But for all of you at home, that's Timmy B from the Fight Insight Podcast. I'm Jason DeBiz. This is episode 255. We're going to hit my music. We are out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.